The Real Deal Show, brought to you by eBodyboarding.com and Tribe Boards. Folks, welcome to The Real Deal Show yet again, and this time I have a gentleman with me that maybe you don't recognize, but you should, and I've been looking forward to getting a conversation with this gentleman. His name is Neal Miyake. Hello, Neal. How are you?
How's it going, brother? How's it going, Jay?
I'm doing very well. Neal and I have been acquaintances and friends for probably the better part of, I don't know, I want to almost say 40 years, Neal.
Probably about 40 years, yeah.
I'm thinking about, it's been that long. So we're showing our age. I am 61 years old. Neal, how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 61 also.
So there
of
we
82,
go.
just like you.
Yes, I love it. And folks, Neal, I will say, there's so many things I could say about Neal, but I will say this. He is an archivist and historian, a photographer that has captured the personalities and the photos and the essence of the sport of bodyboarding really since day one. And you may or may not have heard of Neal. He's from Hawaii. He's originally from the island of Kaua'i, now living on Oahu. Correct, Neal?
That's correct, yeah.
Right on. And he has a very storied history in the sport of bodyboarding. We're going to get into all of this with Neal. And it's going to be interesting to hear some of the stories, Neal. But let's start at the very beginning, as we do many times with these interviews that I do on the podcast. And you grew up on Kauai. Was it the South Shore of Kauai, Neal?
Yeah, I was a South Shore rat bodyboarding at Brennicke's. So the first time I got a bodyboard was 76, but before that, that was a 132BE. But before that, of course, we rode those old styrofoam ones that used to break all the time.
Of course.
I started with that a long time before. Yeah.
So bodyboards were invented in 71.
Mhm.
And so you were bodyboarding not long after they were invented, is what you're telling me here.
Yeah. Pretty much just afterwards. Yeah.
And then your first legit board was in 76, that 132BE,
Yeah.
which, was one of the very basic boards. It's probably just after the kit boards that Tom Morey put out.
That's right. I never owned one of those kit boards. I wanted one, but no.
So you hopped from the styrofoam straight to the pre-manufactured boards. And those ones Tom made over here in California in Carlsbad. They had a small factory there. And I'm seeing that you used to compete back there on Kauai. So obviously you're the same age as me. You started competing around around the mid 80s, 1986-ish. And was that in the HSA, the Hawaii Surf Federation, or Surf Association, as it used to be called?
It was actually called the HSF, Hawaii Surf Federation, back then. So I did a couple contests on Kauai, of course. But once I went to started working in Honolulu, that's when I kind of went to the amateurs quite a bit. Yeah. It was just for fun.
Yeah.
Nothing serious, but I really enjoyed competing and riding.
Well, who were the people that you used to compete against that we may have heard of that went on to bigger and better things in the bodyboarding world?
Well, I think it was more of the second generation of kids. I remember Kainoa McGee, of course, being one of the top contenders back then, along with Jackie Butter and a whole bunch of other guys. Those were kind of like competitors.
Yeah.
Kainoa was just such a character, man. Even when he was younger, he used to just intimidate me. Like, I'm like 7 years older than he was, but he was a good guy.
Yeah, he was a formidable competitor. I went on a few trips. We were sponsored by Maury, both of us, and yeah, he was hilarious. If you blew a wave, he'd scream at you and tell you how you blew the wave. So yeah, he could be intimidating. Although when I met him, he was probably 12 years old and a little skinny kid. And I remember meeting him on the North Shore. I was over there for the winter with my friend Buckwheat. And we had gone to the all-you-can-eat at Pizza Hut in Haleiwa, and he needed a ride home. So we gave him our crusts because he didn't have any money. So we gave him our pizza crusts and gave him a ride home. So he's been a friend for many years, and he's still right there in the mix on the South Shore and involved in the ocean still to this day.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, great guy. So you used to compete like with those guys in the early days, and was there any point? I almost want to say, Neal, you were on the periphery of being a professional bodyboarder without actually being a professional bodyboarder. Would that be a fair
Yeah,
statement?
kind of. I never aspired to be a professional bodyboarder. I knew that I wasn't good enough, but I just enjoyed riding more so. I'd like to think that bodyboarding kept me healthy and happy. I always look forward to the contest, and eventually I ended up helping out a lot the contest, and then of course got into heavy into photography. Yeah,
Yes. So, I mean, the photos, you sent me a slew of photos, which I'm going to put on the YouTube version of this podcast. I'll load those clips in. Is amazing. I think. Did you start taking water photos back when it was the Minolta, the yellow Minolta cameras? I mean, was
yeah.
that when you started?
I actually tried my hand with water photography in 1981, I believe. They used to have this Evermarine housing where it was like a glove. You kind of put your camera in a Ziploc bag and you had a glove that could fit inside. And that's how I started. Yeah. But I went through that progression like everyone else. I had disposables, I had the Minolta, and then I just went up and when digital came, it was a game changer. And so I just kept doing it for fun.
Yeah, so you've put yourself in some pretty dangerous positions, obviously shooting shore break. I've seen so many great photos that you've put out
Thank you.
yeah, of course, at Sandy Beach, which is, a tremendous photo studio location,
Mm.
especially for bodyboarders. But you also shoot on the North Shore. You swim out to the spot I always see you referring to as pastures. I think some of us know what that spot is, but I mean, that's a big lineup out there, man. You must have taken many, many waves on the head and you're
Yeah.
taking your beatings, right?
I have, yeah. I was never much of a big wave rider, but I did enjoy for a time larger surf, shooting it, and that was fun. And pastures, just so you know, it's Laniakea, as you probably know,
Okay,
and that's
yes.
a
I didn't know if
awesome
that
lineup.
this was a secret thing. Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it was a fun. The reason why I changed the name is because some people were using my photos to promote some surf tours here.
Oh,
Oh, that was
interesting.
a while back,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
it's changed now. Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah. So you've kind of gravitated away from the big wave stuff, I guess, because I know you used to swim out at Pipeline during the pipe
Yeah.
event. You'd shoot that as well. Do you
hmm
have a limit now? Like, do you look at surf and go, nah, that's out of my pay scale
Yeah,
nowadays, right?
in the past, honestly, I was pretty, I was stupid and young, I guess. So I used to go out when it was really big, when it closed out. So, but that's long gone. I mean, after getting several injuries, I kind of crushed my vertebrae one time shooting it off the wall.
No
And then,
way.
yeah, after I snapped my ankle, longboarding, that was kind of it. I knew that, I was a little too old for it.
Yeah, so you said you've had some injuries. Obviously, you said you snap your ankle longboarding. That's pretty heavy. Were you doing a floater or
Yeah,
something and you
no,
just
it was like at 2 foot at Wind and Sea of all places
Oh
in
wow.
San Diego. I was
Wow.
longboarding there and I just stepped off the board and cracked in 2013.
Oh,
That was it.
man.
After that, you
Yeah.
lose a little bit of your confidence or a lot of confidence.
Yes.
And I lost the edge after that. So I kind of stepped back and I was getting old too.
Yeah, I mean I've dialed it back a lot. I'm 61 and big waves are off my table now. I just don't have the lung capacity I used to have and honestly for me and maybe you feel the same, for me bodyboarding and surfing, I ride surfboards just like you do as well, is something I want to enjoy. I don't want to be
Yeah.
scared by it. I don't want to
Yeah.
go in the water and feel anxiety and fear. I want to be relaxed. And so waves that are going to smash me or kill me are not in my world anymore, I
Yeah,
think.
that's exactly how I am. I've kind of toned it down a lot and I just enjoy it for the feel. Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing, Neal, as we talk today, I don't know if you saw on Instagram, there was a clip that was posted
Oh,
late last night of Mike Stewart, who
yeah.
is a year older than us. He's
Yes.
62 at Teahupo'o. I'm going to
Yep.
say it the correct
Teahupo'o.
way.
So that was him taking off on
That
that
was
wave?
Mike Stewart at
Holy cow.
big chopes, as they call it. Let's call it
Yep.
chopes to be easy, and airdropping into oblivion. And he absolutely got hammered. And we talked to his sales manager, and his sales manager shared with us that he broke a rib. He thinks he
Oh,
broke a rib. I don't think he got an X-ray yet. Maybe he
yeah.
has by now, but
Mhm.
and snapped his board clean in half. Like, I mean,
Oh,
that was a violent, violent thing. So, despite the fact that he's 62 years old, because maybe because he won the Shark Island event a couple months ago, he still thinks he's
we
22 years
we
old. I
got
don't
we
know.
got to convince him to dial it back, man.
I know, man. He's going to kill himself if he keeps up that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
but he was posting that clip, so he's obviously lucid and moving around somehow.
Mhm.
But man, that looked absolutely horrendous. And I
That
just
was
saw that,
gnarly.
and I went, maybe I should just retire. There's no way I'll ever come close to what Mike's doing. So
Yeah.
kudos to you, Mike Stewart. You were an absolute maniac. But back to you, Neal. This is about Neal Miyake, and that's what I want to get into. So I'll go back to when I really started noticing a lot of what you do. You created a website called High Surf Advisory, which was spelled HI, like the abbreviation for the state of
Yeah.
Hawaii. And this is, if you look at the site, it's still up, and it's like going back in time to the 90s when the internet was brand new. And the site is still there. I clicked some of the links on it. Some are dead, but some are actually still there. And I mean, you have interviews with some of the who's who of wave riding, from Kalani Robb to Mike Stewart and many of the other luminaries in the
Yeah.
sport. What prompted you to want to sort of, capture the essence of these people, these wave riders, these legends back in those days? Because there was no money in it. What inspired you to do that?
Yeah, the internet was pretty new back then. So I started that site in 1995, just to kind of capture a little bit of what I was doing and just almost like a blog before there was blogs.
Yes.
And I wanted to kind of show off what the people in Hawaii were doing also. Yeah, especially in bodyboarding. And so I kind of focused on bodyboarding, especially early in the earlier days. But it's a nice archive to look back on as far as what I was doing back then. And I did stop kind of adding into it after 2010 or 2012. I just got a little burnt out, but I do maintain the site though. Yeah,
Well,
it's still on.
you were really, as far as I know, the original blogger for bodyboarding. I mean, that's literally the beginning of the internet, was in the mid 90s,
Yeah.
and you were there, man. You were capturing it all. You had a page of links to all kinds of, surfing and bodyboarding related content, which there
Hmm.
wasn't a ton of back then. So you really paved the way for a lot of people that came after you in that respect. So my hat is off to you for that one. For sure. And it's just really fun to go back and look at that site, because it really is a snapshot of what blog sites were like in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it hasn't, the format of it hasn't really changed much. So it's really cool to see that. So let's move on to your life beyond bodyboarding, which sort of circles back to bodyboarding. And that is the fact that you started working. You got a Bachelor of Science in Electrical
Yeah.
Engineering. Where did you get that degree?
Yeah. I got it from the University of Hawaii, just over
Okay,
here.
at
Yeah.
Manoa.
Yep. At Mano.
Got it. And then you had that degree, and what did you know what you wanted to do straight out of college?
No, I didn't. I actually just got that one. I tried for several jobs, obviously, and then I got this job for the Navy, and it turned out to be a blessing for me. I was really stoked to get that job.
Yeah, so
Um,
you talk about the job. You work for the Naval Information Warfare Center, correct?
that's correct. Yeah, NIWC Pacific, Naval Information Warfare Center Pacific. It's based out of San Diego. That's why I travel to San Diego a lot. But it allowed me early on, especially when I graduated in 87 on, to travel the world, doing work for the Navy, but also having the bodyboard in tow. So I got a chance to ride a lot of fun places.
Well, that's what really captivated me was seeing stuff that you would post from the far-flung corners of the earth. I think I remember you posting shots from South Korea, maybe from the coastline there in snow in a
Oh,
hooded full suit and booties and gloves,
yeah, that was
riding waves up there.
northern Japan.
Northern Japan,
Yeah.
Hokkaido, the island of Hokkaido.
Just south of Hokkaido, the Aomori prefecture. Yeah. It
Amazing.
was, yeah, we had to walk through a snowbank to get to the water. It was nuts.
I used to do that in Maryland, so I know how brutal that can be.
Yeah.
But for you coming from Hawaii, even more brutal. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
think you had that sense of adventure. Clearly, your whole life has been a sense of adventure that's pushed you to do the things that you've done, bodyboarding, photography, and so forth. And so you got to ride there. Maybe you were one of the few people in the water up there, right? At that time?
Yeah, I was one of the few. I found out like decades later that there was a sign that I took a picture in front of and it said, "You will die if you go in the water," or something to that effect. It was so funny. I didn't know what the sign said, but
Of course.
yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. And then you even went to my hometown, Ocean City, Maryland. Is that
Yeah, the
right?
waves suck there, Jay. How did you manage to learn how to bodyboard there,
Yeah,
my
wrong
friend?
time of year. What time of year were you
Yeah,
there?
I can't remember. I think it was
Yeah.
probably April or May, sometime in the
Okay.
spring.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you went to some really cool places. I looked at your map on your High Surf Advisory
yeah.
website, and you had started a list of some of the places you had been, and you said you were going to add to it at some point in the future, but you never. I guess you never finished it. But one thing that really intrigued me, Neal, was you had the Cuban flag on there, yet you did not have a link to
Oh,
Cuba.
I
Did you go surf Guantanamo or somewhere
no, no,
around
no.
there?
It's Puerto Rico.
Oh,
I
it's
don't
Puerto
think it was
Rico.
a Cuban
Sorry,
flag.
Puerto
Yeah,
Rican flag. My
yeah,
bad. It was so tiny I couldn't tell.
yeah. It was Puerto Rico.
Got it. Okay. So you were there as well. What's the most, I don't want to say novelty place you ever got to ride waves, but sort of interesting place that other people wouldn't have ever been to?
Um, I got a chance to surf on both sides of Canada, and that was
Wow.
pretty cool. So the one that was really stuck in my mind was Masset, which is north of Vancouver Island. And so actually, when I was riding out there by myself back in the day, um, I could see Alaska, the tip of Alaska,
No
uh,
kidding.
i- in the on the horizon. So that was cool. And they have a lot
Wow.
of killer whales in that area, but thankfully I never saw one. But that was a beautiful experience. Yeah, that's
Yeah, how
fun.
did you end up this? So you were just south of the Alaskan border,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
which is way up there in British Columbia. And were
hmm
you there by yourself? I mean, were you doing work for the
Yeah, I was
Navy up
doing a
there?
project for the Navy.
Got
We're
it.
partnering with Canada. And
Okay.
so I went to that specific site. I think it closed down already, but
Yeah,
I was working there for the Navy. And so I just brought my bodyboard just in case. Yeah.
that's crazy. And
I
with
did
that,
hook up with a couple people there though, but
oh,
it
you
was
did
pretty remote. Yeah.
like Canadian surfers?
Yeah. It was
Interesting.
literally a logging town, I think. It
Yeah.
really wasn't much there, but it was awesome. It was great.
And then you said the East Coast as well. Are we talking Nova Scotia or
Yeah,
Newfoundland?
Gander, no, north of Nova Scotia. There's a base there also that I supported the Canadians with. Yeah.
Wow.
That was cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now,
It's
what's
in Newfoundland. It's in New
Newfoundland? Got it. So you probably flew into St. John's and then
Yep,
traveled from there. Yeah.
that's correct.
I'm a geography nerd, probably like you. I would think you probably are because you've been so many places.
Yeah.
What was your favorite place other than Hawaii that you ever got to ride waves, Neal?
Oh, that's a good question, man.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
People ask me that a lot.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I had a great session at Puerto Rico at Crash Boat. Um, I got the chance to surf in Poseth, which is in close to Newquay
Yes.
in England.
Yeah.
I think one of the fun, well, the one I want to talk about, I guess, is in Okinawa.
Yeah.
I got a chance to ride during a typhoon. That was stupid in hindsight, but when you're young, you do stupid things.
Of
But that
course.
was fun though. Yeah, by the time we got out of the water, it started blowing really hard, and we just had to get inside.
Well, we used to have a lot of customers that were in the military stationed in Okinawa,
Hmm.
and they would always tell us how sharp the reefs were there. It was all
Yeah,
reef breaks, all kind of gnarly, crazy, sharp reef down
yeah,
there.
it's pretty sharp.
Yeah. Wow. So you worked for the Navy for how many years?
About 36 and a half.
Wow. So
Yeah,
you were basically like a civilian employee of the Navy,
yeah,
correct?
yeah. I wasn't in the military per se, but I worked as a civilian. Yeah.
Yeah, and that enabled you to finally retire just a year ago. Am I
Yep,
correct?
just last year. I'm
So,
just lucky to be retired. Yeah.
yeah, are you loving being retired?
Yeah, it took a while to get used to, and I'm still kind of hitting myself saying, what are you doing today? What kind of things? But it's really nice. Yeah, I'm blessed that I'm retired. It's a tough. I had a great job. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I loved my job. But it was time, and now you got some good guys taking over for me. Yeah, so I'm happy.
Well, when you did work for the Navy, what was your day to day like? Did you have to go into an office every day from say 9 to 5 kind of thing? Was that it?
Pretty much 9 to 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was an electrical engineer, as you mentioned early on, and then I kind of gravitated towards more of the executive type. So I was a what they called a business deputy,
Okay.
and so I had a lot of latitude. I could do kind of what I wanted to do, and that really I'd like to think it helped bring in business and bring in good work that we for our office.
Right. Right. Good
Yeah.
stuff. And retirement. Yeah. I'm sure after 30 plus years working for them, going to from 60 miles an hour to zero is quite a transition because now you're like, how do I fill my day? But
Yeah.
I feel like you're the kind of guy that figures that out. You
Yeah.
maybe do you have any hobbies outside of going to the beach or
Yeah.
and photography?
YouTube is my hobby. No. You'd be
Yeah.
surprised, but I don't bodyboard or take pictures as much as I thought I would once I retired.
Okay.
And that's okay. It's kind of nice to keep it to manage it and don't go every day. That wouldn't be fun. But
Yeah.
yeah, pickleball. I don't know if you play
Oh,
pickleball, but I've been playing a lot of pickleball, and I
yeah.
still continue to learn. I love to learn, and you got to keep
Yeah.
the mind sharp.
That's awesome. I mean, pickleball obviously is like the fastest growing sport in the US.
Yeah.
I never got full on into it, but my family, my sister and my
Mhm.
neighbor, they're hard. My neighbor's hardcore. He plays every single day. And honestly, I wish if I had more time, if I was retired, I probably would do that because it's fun. It's like ping pong, tennis. It's like right in the middle, right?
You used
It's
to
like
play a lot of tennis in your time,
I
though,
did.
too, right?
I did back on the
Yeah, I
North Shore
remember.
days. Keith
Yeah.
Sasaki, my good buddy from for many years, we would have viciously competitive matches on the North Shore. And last time we played was in Cabo about 5 years ago, and he beat me. He's really good. But yeah, it's I just haven't played for ages, man. It's like I just don't have enough hours in the day. So for me, retirement is a time when I'll hopefully take up something like pickleball or tennis or something. There's a lot of pickleball here in Orange County where I live. So yeah, it's the
Good.
stage is
When you
set for
when you
that.
come back to Hawaii, I'll take you out pickleballing.
Yeah, man. And I know a guy, Jordan Stollard,
It's not,
who,
yeah, Jordan.
yeah, he's I guess heavily into it too. I think he goes to Turtle Bay to play all the
Mhm.
time. But let's get back to the bodyboarding. Are you now you're still taking bodyboarding photos? Are you still getting in the water shooting photos?
Oh yeah. I love water, surf photography.
Yep.
I can't. It's not me standing on the beach taking pictures. I just love to get in with the waves, as you know. And
Yes.
all the experience we've had bodyboarding has really helped me kind of negotiate the ocean, of course.
Yep.
And so I keep using that skill set when I jump in the water.
Well,
But
some
yeah,
of the
water photography, it's a sport unto itself, I think.
absolutely. I mean, some of the best water photographers that have ever
Yeah.
existed were bodyboarders, right? We know the
Yep.
names Jeff Flint, Todd Glazer, the
Yep.
list goes on and
Eichner.
on.
Yep.
Tim Jones and Scott Eichner. Yeah, you
Yep.
mentioned. So, yeah, that's no surprise because they're used to wearing swim fins and
Yeah.
they know their way around the lineup, right? So it
Right.
makes
Right.
sense they would be some of the best in the world. And I'm so glad to hear that you're still getting in the water and keeping busy with that. And you're still promoting surfing and bodyboarding. Do you submit photos to any publications or websites for them to publish, or even advertisers? Do you still do that?
Yeah, I haven't sent to magazine as often as I used to, but I did get several of my photos in Surfer's Journal. But what I try to do, as I mentioned to you before, is just I just try to help out the community, the bodyboarding community primarily, because I love to get the kids stoked on bodyboarding. That's a great thing, and sometimes they never get photos of themselves, and
Yeah.
I'm just honored that they appreciate it so much.
Well, you're like the working man's Tom Boyle, maybe,
Oh
because
yeah.
we look back at
That guy's a legend, man. And
he
yeah, he
is.
helped out so many people,
He
so
really
many
did. And,
volunteers.
and Neal and I are talking about Tom Boyle, who was one of the guys who helped start Bodyboarding Magazine back in the mid 80s. He literally, if you look at the first issue of that magazine,
Almost
50% of
all.
the photos are
Yeah.
Tom's.
Yeah.
And he just was such an integral part of
Yeah.
promoting bodyboarding in the early
Yep.
days. And you continue to do it. I don't know what Tom's up to these days. I don't know if you still run into him in Hawaii. No.
No, I haven't seen him in a while. Yeah. He published
Yeah,
those two books. I don't know if you remember those photo
I
books.
do. Yep.
And I haven't seen him or talked to him since that time.
Yeah, I see he posts occasionally or comments on posts on Instagram and Facebook, but
Mhm.
I'm not sure he's still hanging around the beach that much. But in any case, hats off to Mr. Tom Boyle for his
Yeah.
contributions as well. So Neal, the travels have been amazing, but through all of this, the retirement, your career, you've been married for how many years to Susan, your wife? How many
Oh,
years now?
just a little over 30, 31 years already.
Wow,
Stoked, man.
amazing.
Yeah. And in fact,
Congratulations.
we're an office romance and I met her at work. So I owe work a lot.
Oh, you got your honey where you get your money, as they
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And then you guys have a daughter, Taryn. And how
Yeah.
old is
Daughter
Taryn
Taryn.
now?
Yeah, she's
How
30. She just
she's
turned 30
30.
already. So yeah, we're old, bro.
Oh man. Now, any surf for them? Did they surf or bodyboard or
They
anything?
are not surfers or bodyboarders, but they understand that daddy loves the sport. Yeah.
Ah, that's cool. That's cool. I love it. So they support your passion. What's Taryn doing these days? Is she still in
Karen
Hawaii?
just yeah, she's a doctor actually locally. Yeah.
Oh, right
She's a
on.
physician. Yeah.
Excellent. Right on. Are you still able to travel, Neal, now that you're retired? Or are you kind of tucked in close to home? Because obviously you were traveling on the Navy's dime back in the
Yeah.
days, and now it's on your dime if you're traveling,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but we have been traveling quite a bit. So we just got back from China of all places.
Wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it was awesome.
That was your first time there?
First time in China. Yeah, it was a great trip. Good
Now,
food, good people, and we just love the culture there, of course.
yeah, did you hit up the Great Wall and the other touristy
Yeah,
spots
we
in
did.
Beijing?
Kind
Yeah.
of a smaller area with the Great Wall, but it was just so picturesque. It was
Yeah.
just beautiful. It was
Right
beautiful.
on. Good for
Yeah.
you, man. I love that. Now, we're doing this podcast. It looks to me like you have a legit microphone and like a legit lighting setup. Have you done this before? Have you done podcasts before?
I have done only a one or two podcasts prior to this, but when during the pandemic, I got big into this, conferencing kind of thing. In
Yes.
fact, I started up a partnership, I guess, with some East Coast Navy folks, and
Okay.
so we were just communicating exclusively through Zoom and Teams, Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, makes sense. That's why you have
Yeah,
the good gear. And the
yeah,
irony here is that I have the Hawaii beach scene in my background, and
yeah. I
you're the one
noticed.
in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So
They'll
I
be
love
seen
it.
here though. I got
Just
dolphins back here.
yeah, that's right. That's right. I love it, man. So yeah, continuing on this, I was kind of looking at some bio information that I got from you about you, a lot of which I already knew, but one thing that this might help somebody. I mean, you mentioned that you have epilepsy and you really
Yeah,
feel that bodyboarding has kept you healthy. How is that? How have you managed that condition with your bodyboarding? Have you
sure.
had to take medication and things like
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
So yeah, when I was 18 years old, I think I got my first seizure, and then I was diagnosed with epilepsy. Never kept it a secret, anything like that, but just thankfully it's been controlled quite well with medicine. So I've been taking, different kinds of medicine ever since. Um, it's always a major concern. My wife is always very nervous about me going in the water because having a seizure in the water is pretty
Yeah, it's
could be
it's
deadly.
not a good
Yeah.
scenario.
But I do like to think that bodyboarding has helped keep me healthy.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to, something that's very physical and you can, you keep your body strong. And I'd like to think that bodyboarding helped keep me alive, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look great. Yeah, I mean, you're still getting in the water, obviously
Yeah.
taking advantage of being retired. You look super relaxed. So I'm actually jealous, man. I'm
Yeah.
not to the retirement point just yet, but
Mm.
hoping to get there someday. Just like you. All
Yeah.
right, so Neal, let's get a little more specific to bodyboarding and your history in the sport. Obviously, you've been doing this longer than I have, and I've been doing it for 46 years. And there's a lot of faces that have come and gone. But let's start with you. You started out riding those Maury boards. You had a few sponsors along the way, including Custom X and Viper, right?
Yeah, I was just happy that Debbie was so generous with me and giving me some boards when I was younger. Yeah. And then Fred Simpson, of course, with Viper. Just honored to be friends with him.
Yeah.
And yeah, they helped me along the way. Great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, you mentioned some of the names that were around when you used to compete. Talk about any influences that you may have had in your early days of bodyboarding. Were there any riders specifically that you looked up to
Actually,
when you were
yeah.
starting? Yeah.
Back on Kauai, Harry was the man, Harry
Harry
Antipala.
Antipala. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was quite a bit younger than I was, but still he was a Grom hanging out at Brennecke's a bit. I think he got an injury when he was younger. He was a surfer primarily, but he blew out his knee, I think, and he got heavy into bodyboarding, and the rest is history with him.
Yep.
So when I started competing, I could never beat him. It's one of those things that you can never beat him, but it kind of spurred me to keep trying hard.
I love it.
He's just a great friend, good guy, really good guy.
Yeah, I want to get him on here too because
Yeah,
he needs to be heard from. I mean, that guy has a long history from
he does.
those early days when he was a surfer. I guess he was Hawaii State boys champion, as I
Yeah.
heard back in those days, and
Yep.
then became one of the top bodyboarders, obviously, in the world during the 90s. And Kaua'i Classic team, that whole history is just so rich. And I feel like Harry would be a great interview. So I will
Yeah.
get him on here at some
That
point. I'll reach
that's
out to
great.
him. Yeah. And then, of course, the Mike Stewart era. It seems like it's coming back again now with his recent publicity. But
Yeah.
Mike Stewart dominated the sport. He was my guy that I could never beat. I mean, I
Mhm.
competed against him numerous times and never beat that guy. He's the only guy in my career I could never beat. So, I mean, he was just such an iconic figure in the sport and remains that way
Yeah.
so many years later. So, you would see these guys in the water on a daily basis. Sometimes it's Sandy's or you go to the North Shore, right? It must have been so inspiring watching that whole crew, Mike, Ben, Pat, Keith,
Yeah.
JP, Jack Lindholm, all those guys, legends.
Yeah. Although they're kind of peers in age, for me, they're
Yes.
like to me the next level.
Yep.
So I wouldn't even I see them all the time. I talk story with them a lot. but they were like up there. They were our heroes. That's how I saw them.
Well, they were for me too. As a kid
Yeah,
growing up in Maryland, they, as you mentioned, they're peers to us in age.
yeah,
But I had posters of those guys on my
yeah.
wall in
Me too.
Maryland. So when I went to Hawaii the first time in 1982 for the first ever Maury pipeline event, which
Hmm.
was, I believe, the third ever bodyboarding event at Pipeline,
Hmm.
or the second maybe after the North Shore event, the Surecraft North Shore.
Surecraft. Yep.
Yeah, which I've actually interviewed the guy that ran that event as one of my
Mm.
podcasts. I was like starstruck. Saw Jack walking down the beach, Keith Sasaki sitting behind me, Mike Stewart and JP out in the water. And then eventually they became my competitors. I competed against them.
Yeah.
Keith became my roommate. And so, yeah, it's so interesting, when you put these people on a pedestal and then
Yeah.
suddenly you're kind of like trying to get up to that level. And then, they become not your, I don't want to say your enemy, but, your competitor, but still in some sense they're your heroes, your
Yeah.
bodyboarding heroes. And
Yep.
I
I feel the
think,
same way. Yep.
yeah, and it's still that way with me. Even in May I went to Mexico with Keith, and we kind of rekindled some old memories of the old
Yeah.
days, and it was so fun to watch Keith still ripping. He's 62 years old, like Mike is, and still drop kneeing and just bringing me back to the 80s, when I
Yeah.
first became aware of what Keith was doing out there. So yeah, moving forward, Neal, what's your plans? Do you have any travel plans? Are you just kind of taking it day by day? Like, hey, I feel like going to the beach today. I'll go to the beach. I mean, how does it play out for you from this point forward?
Um, I've been looking forward to helping out the kids with STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I
Yes.
was a big promoter of that when I was working, and I just want to continue pushing, technology to the kids growing up. That's been one of my passions, I guess, and I do want to keep learning. I mean, to me, like this artificial intelligence,
Ah,
just
I know.
incredible, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, our office did that back in 1990. We started also really early,
Wow.
but how it's progressed recently is just phenomenal, and I just want to keep my brain going and learning about that things. Yeah,
That's amazing because you mentioned AI. It's such a great resource, but
yeah,
like most technology, it can be very good or very bad.
yeah,
I go to cellular telephones. Obviously, there's some amazing good things that cellular telephones have brought into our lives, smartphones.
yeah.
And there's some really bad stuff. So
Sure.
it's learning how to, use the good parts and eschew the bad parts of
Shoot.
technology, right? So that it's used for the right things. And the funny thing is, I think about the movie Terminator that came out in like 1984 or
Yeah,
something, which foretold basically AI taking over
yeah.
humanity and there being a war, right? And how precognitive of that movie to predict what some people like Elon Musk and
That
others think may happen.
Yeah. That's so
So
funny you say that because I've made more than a few briefs mentioning that our artificial intelligence is nothing to do with Skynet, which is from the Terminator.
right,
Yeah, I
so,
wanted to emphasize to the kids that, hey, this is not the same thing now.
right. I
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, but it is a tremendous resource, and I love that you're still out there, obviously learning things at our age keeps our brains active and keeps us
Yeah.
from kind of going into mental decay, right? And I
Right,
think it
right.
gets more important. Now, do you have a workout regime? Let's move to the physical side of things. Any workouts that you do on a daily basis to keep fit?
I've been wanting to get into it more as far as a regular exercise routine, but no, I haven't. I kind of got into yoga quite a bit for a while.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of stretching, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But nothing formal yet. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't like weights too much, so I haven't done any kind of stuff like that. But yoga is one thing on my mind that I'm going to be definitely pursuing further.
I agree that stretching to me is the most critical thing to maintain
Yeah,
functional flexibility is so important, especially for us in the ocean, bouncing
Yeah,
around in the waves. You have
absolutely.
to be flexible or injuries are going to happen.
Yeah,
And it gets harder. The older we get, the less flexible we are, right? So I
yeah.
think the more important it becomes. Any special diet for you, Neal? You just eat anything that
Uh,
you want, or a little bit of cheating here and there kind of thing, or what?
More than a little cheating. Probably yeah, I cheat a lot. I drink coffee
Sure.
in the morning. I usually skip breakfast, so it's
Yeah.
kind of one of those things. But try to eat healthy. Um, but I'm not too successful at it.
Well, it's there's a balance in
Yeah.
everything, I think, and I'm the same. I have a burger and pizza every now and then. I don't have a problem with it, and I think everybody has their thing, and you have to just every the old saying, everything in moderation, right?
I had a burger just a few hours ago, and I had pizza yesterday. So
I
I know
have.
you're a super healthy eater. For me, not so much,
No,
but
no,
yeah,
man. At least once a week, I have burger and pizza for sure.
there you
Same
go.
here.
There you go.
But yeah, it's I'm a very I want to say a regimented person. I stick kind of to a schedule really at 7 days a week. It drives my wife nuts. So
So what
yeah.
do you do as far as physical things every day? Do you
Yeah,
have a
every
routine every
seven
day?
days a week, man. I'm up at 4:30 every morning. I'm on a
Okay.
treadmill for about 40 minutes,
Wow.
doing a mix of fast-paced hiking and a
Yeah.
little bit of jogging, and then I
Yeah.
do 40 minutes of stretching and dumbbells, and then I go for a surf, like usually 60 to 90 minutes. Unless it's really good and I'm not too busy at work, I can stay out a little
Uh-huh.
longer. And on the weekends, if it's good, I might surf twice. But that's literally 7 days a week. I do that schedule.
That's
And then,
awesome.
sometimes stuff comes up. I got a chore, a commitment. I can't work out. I got to leave early in the morning on a trip or something like that. But yeah, for me, I've found I used to do a ton of cardio. I used to do all these endurance events,
Yep.
Ironmans and
I
ultramarathons,
remember.
and I don't do those anymore. But I've found as I've gotten older, the flexibility, we just mentioned this, flexibility is super key for me to stay functionally fit,
Hmm.
and the weights, like, because you start to lose muscle mass easily
Yeah.
as you get older.
Yeah.
So I don't do heavy weights. I'm not like busting my eyeballs out trying to lift 100 pounds over my head. I'm just doing 20 pound dumbbells or whatever and multiple reps. I'm just trying to stay functionally fit. I'm not trying to
Good.
like look like Schwarzenegger, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's for me so far. That works. Hopefully I can keep bodyboarding and surfing into my, golden. I'm already in my golden years, I guess, at
Yes, we
61. But
are.
yes, we are indeed. So let's enjoy it and keep moving. I think that's the ultimate thing. Where would you like to see bodyboarding go in the future? I know people that you've been associated with, like Patty Serrano, is trying to get this United Alliance of Wave Riders going, and there's been a lot of movements to keep bodyboarding alive. But competitive bodyboarding has really been a roller coaster ride, up and down. There's,
Yeah.
we've had, multiple iterations of the world tour. In Hawaii, they have a good little circuit of competition
Yeah.
occasionally, but here in California, we have basically one contest now, and that's it. I mean, have you thought about, like, why is bodyboarding such a roller coaster ride? That's I want to ask you because you've been around it so long.
Yeah, back in the day when we first started and they had the pipe contest, the prize money used to be what, $6,000 for
Yeah,
first?
right.
I mean, we've never even gotten close to that, even after these so many decades.
Yeah.
It's sad, but at the same time, maybe it's a good thing that bodyboarding stays a little bit underground. Um, it's great that several people, yourself included, could actually get a living out of it, but it's challenging now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Well,
it's really difficult. I like to think that bodyboarding is just a good pursuit for a lot of the kids.
yeah.
And if we can keep it that way, keep them on a straight path in a good direction, I think that's great. And you know, that's what I see what bodyboarding right now is all about.
Yeah, it seems like in Hawaii, especially, Jeff and Dave Hubbard do the Keiki Fest every year. They
Yeah.
just had that recently, and
Yep.
the Garden Isle Classic that they have
Yep.
over on Kauai, right?
Yep. They do.
The Hubbards and Chris Burkhart put on great attendance from the younger riders. Here in California, it's a completely different scenario. What we've found here in California is the board again movement, as we call it, which is riders returning to the sport. We call them
Uh-huh.
board agains.
Yeah.
And COVID really, really ignited that movement. And so did the Vintage Bodyboard Collectors Facebook group. I think that was a small catalyst in this whole thing. But one of our biggest segment of customers is older riders returning to the sport after a long hiatus due to family work or whatever the case may
Right, right.
be. And it's amazing. Literally every day in here in our business or on the phone, I'm getting guys calling me. They're 45, 50 years old. Man, I used to bodyboard in the 80s and 90s. I'm getting back into it. But they've put on a few pounds and they need a
Yeah.
little bit bigger board or whatever. But they're really kind of fueling the whole industry over here in California, along with injured older surfers that can no
Mm.
longer pop up to their feet. They're
Right.
switching to bodyboarding. So it is
Right.
a totally different demographic here in California, older demographic in the sport. So yeah, you guys got the young over there. We got the old guys over here. So yeah, it's still alive and well on the recreational side of
Right.
things. And I'm
Yeah.
not totally convinced that competition has to fuel the growth of the sport. I really think
Not
just
necessarily, yeah.
yeah,
Just the
the
love of the
fun.
sport is
Right.
good enough at any age, like you mentioned, yeah.
Right. It fuels itself. It's like it's a fun sport, it's an escape, it's healthy, you're in the sun and the ocean, and that's enough, really. Of
Yeah.
course, we'd love to see opportunities for the young kids to compete, but
Yeah,
I don't think
that
it's a
would be
make or break.
super nice. I agree with there. Yeah, if the young kids could make a living out of it, that'd be awesome. But
Yeah.
honestly, it's going to be a challenge. So
Yeah, and things may change generationally speaking. You never
yeah,
know what's going to happen in the future. But for now, hey, we got bodyboards. We can still get in the water and enjoy the whole reason we started doing this back in the 70s, both of us,
yeah.
you a little earlier than I. Neal, anything to wrap things up? Anyone you want to thank? Any final comments before we close this thing up?
Oh, shit.
I put you on the spot. You knew I was going
Yeah,
to ask this
I never
question.
thought about that. Yeah, that's a good question. Shoot. Um, of course, I got to thank my wife, my beautiful wife. She's been, taking care of me for decades, and she's allowed me to ride and shoot a lot. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, uh, the leaders in the sport, Mike Stewart, I see him. I continue to just stoke me out. You guys listening to your podcast, even, I really enjoy that. There's a lot of people, I guess,
Yeah.
but nobody in particular, I guess. I just totally appreciate the community that we've built, and we continue to help along.
Yeah.
Um, that just makes me happy that we have a nice community where people have a shared interest in bodyboarding.
It is
Yeah,
a global community. It is,
it is.
but
It
it is
is.
still tight knit, which is great.
Yeah,
And I think the internet and particularly social media has helped that. It's
yeah,
brought a lot of guys together that wouldn't otherwise know each other with a common interest, which is
yeah. So going back to that,
fantastic.
the website that I had, High Surf Advisory, or I have,
Yeah.
um, we had bulletin boards. I don't know if you remember that, but I had a
Yes.
bulletin board on my site, and that was one way for me to connect to people from around the world,
Yeah.
initially. And that was really nice to see bodyboarders and surfers get, talk story with me about bodyboarding in Hawaii. And it was
Yeah.
always just nice to see. And now that the world is a little smaller with the internet proliferating, um, we get a chance to share even more of ourselves with everyone else.
Well, Reddit kind of carries on that whole spirit of the message boards or the bulletin
Hmm.
boards from back in the day.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're on the subreddit for bodyboarding, but it's tremendous. I mean, it's
is
great.
it?
People from all over
Yeah,
the world. I contribute as much as I can on there every couple days, and it's just a great sounding board to find out what's happening in different
Oh,
parts of the
check it
world.
out.
And
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of people
Prior,
that
prior
ask for
to that, we used
advice.
to have our out surfing, our news groups. That's where I first
Right.
got in before the World Wide Web. Yeah,
Yes.
that's where I got into knowing a lot of people from California, surfers in California through the out surfing news group.
I
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah.
When are we going to get you on one of our trips, our wave pool trips in particular, Neal? Come
I
on.
don't
You
want to
went,
break
went
my I don't want to break my collarbone again, just like you did, my friend.
my
But
gosh.
I
Okay, I'm going
would
to
love
show it
to. The
right here. Look at
only
that.
wave pool I've really done was Schlitterbahn in Texas.
Yes. Well, Waco did break my
Waco.
collarbone. No, but you know what? There's some mellow waves too
Yeah.
in some of those wave pools. We have all ability levels. We would love to have you join us if you ever want to. We're going to Virginia to the Wave Garden pool there in October. Texas
Uh-huh.
is in 10 days. And then Surf Ranch. My gosh, you
Oh
would
yeah.
absolutely love that place. So you're always welcome. We would always love to have you along. So if that
Thank
ever
you.
falls in your lap and it's in the cards for you, we'd love to have you. So
That sounds
definitely
great.
reach out. Yeah.
I'd love to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always a blast. Everyone's in one place hooting each
Hmm.
other on. So, well, Neal, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure catching up with you once again
Yeah.
after a long time. I don't think we've actually physically spoken to each other. We've typed messages back and
Yeah.
forth, but it's been years since we've physically spoken. And I'm glad to hear that you still have the same passion for getting in the water that I do. It's like
Yeah.
it's one of those things that defines kind of who you are in a lot of ways,
Right.
which it is for me, and it's so important for us, and great to hear that you're still keen to keep the train rolling, as they
Yeah.
say. So
Yeah.
kudos to you, and thanks for your time.
Oh no, thank you very much, Jay. Thanks for all that you do through the sport. Appreciate it.
Thank you, folks. Thanks for watching on YouTube. If you like this, subscribe to our channel, give us the thumbs up, post a comment for Neal or two or three, and we'll get him to respond to any comments you might have. If you listened to the audio version of this podcast, hopefully this helped pass your time while you were doing whatever it is you do when you listen to audio podcasts. And folks, on behalf of Neal Miyake and myself, Jay Reale, as always, I sign these off the same way every time. See you in the surf.